everyone, salams, peace to you all. I'm going to demonstrate to you a little workshop on how to make your own magic carpet inspired by Islamic art. And so we will begin, and what we will create today from scratch to the end of a beautiful motif like this, in the form of a magic carpet, in the form of a carpet. So let's begin and get to this. We are going to need a watercolor paper in 11 by 16 inch, or you can use also 11 by 14, as well as you will need tracing paper. You will also need some carbon paper if you have, and a ruler, and some water, and some tea, dye, and some paintbrushes and pencils, obviously. So let's begin. So we're going to begin first with the first step is to dye your paper with tea. So you will need some tea dyed and steeped in hot water. In this case, it is already prepared. And I'm going to take a little sponge brush like this and dip my brush in the tea and just gently dab it on my watercolor paper. We are going to create our Islamic motif for the carpet from scratch. And what you're going to need for that is a tracing paper, like this one, 8.5 by 11 inches. And what you want to do with this is fold it exactly in half. You don't have to measure this, just fold it exactly in half like we do with origami, and then vertically, horizontally first, then vertically fold it again. And so you've got a crisscross shape and you've got a little center here to work with. Second, I have actually a pre-made pattern here, but I'm going to show you how to create this pattern from scratch, just as a base. And what you're going to do here is create the pattern on one side of the square. You've got 4 squares, and you're going to create a pattern that is going to repeat itself 3 times, 4 times in a mirror fashion to create a whole pattern. So I'm just going to grab my pencil, and I'm going to start off always with the center of my pattern. And in this case, I'm going to keep it simple. So I'm creating a triangle. A mix of straight and curved shapes are going to display themselves in this pattern just to create a nice balance. And so then I'm going to sort of create a little bit of a border of about 3 millimeters inside. So I've got and you want to probably use, best is a see-through ruler so you can see through your lines. Once you've traced all of it, you will get something like this. When you spend a little time, you will get something like this. So you've got the whole motif traced. What I'm going to do next actually is to demonstrate 2 different techniques of how to transfer your paper. And what you're going to do here is grab a tape, some sort of gentle removable tape that won't damage your paper when you're taking it off, and sort of center it as best as you can. You can also use a ruler to do this, or otherwise just eye it. And it's about 2 inches on each side and 1 inch from that side. And what you're going to do is sort of like place the tracing paper with your pencil facing down. So my pencil side is actually facing down on the paper. And there are 2 different ways you can transfer this pattern at this point. And what's an easier way is to transfer it via a burnisher. In this case, this is something I use. It's an agate stone in the shape of a burnisher. Or you can also use the back of a spoon if you have, as well as you can also use any sort of smooth stone you may have, like this one. This is an agate, a jade, something that is very smooth, that won't damage your paper. And basically what you're going to do is apply enough pressure to the paper where it is going to transfer to your watercolor paper. And you just want to make sure that you're covering all the lines. But if you want to transfer your pattern via a carbon paper, that is also something you can do as well. So in this case, I'm just going to show you. You want your carbon side facing down, just like we had on the pencil. And you just want to draw out your pattern like this. So I'm going to just put this aside for a few minutes until I create my border. And what I'm going to do here is make a sort of tassel for the size of my carpet. And all I need is basically a strip of about 2 inch of a tracing paper cut art on the edges of the borders. Border pointing outwards. Lines have been darkened with either a 6B or 8B pencil, so it transfers easily. And if your pencil is not transferring, you can always use carbon paper. And what I basically use are acrylic inks. This is the Daler Rowney brand. It's my favorite paint that I like to use, and I'm basically going to use the colors that I feel are most striking in a carpet. The last step that you want to do is grab an outliner such as this in either 0.3, 0.2 or 1. Micron brand is usually good, any sort of acid free. In this case, I'm actually going to use another sort of ink, black ink pen like this. With the black, and you will be left with something, in this case a piece that I've spent more time on, that is finished, that I've outlined completely. This is what you're going to create in the by the end of it, from start to finish. Once you've outlined and painted all your gold, you're going to have something like this, and that you can frame and you can put up in your house. And I hope so. I hope you enjoyed this workshop, and it wasn't too complicated. But if you apply a little bit more, little concentration, little bit meditation and patience, you will get something beautiful that you can continue and repeat with different patterns. You can also use many different motifs when it comes to the flower choices. You can also make the shapes of the diamond very different if you like. So it's all up to your imagination what you like to do with it. You can apply any sort of colors you like. You can change the tassels here and create your own patterns that looks nice to you. But in this case, this is what I've created, and hopefully you can mirror it and create something of your own. So that's it. Thank you.